Small island developing countries like Maldives and Singapore are at the forefront of this debate because it affects us more severely than many other countries. And so we have both a responsibility um, and also, right to be part of this discussion and to bring to the attention of the international community the specific ways in which we are being affected and demand also cooperation to solve some of these problems. Because, they're small countries with small populations. We have really not contributed in any significant way to the deteriorating environment globally. For greenhouse gas emission, negligible contribution. And yet we have to bear the brunt, the heaviest burden of climate change. And therefore, we must really exert our right and responsibility in this. And one of the ways in which we do that is bring to the attention of the world how it is affecting us. And second, also be part of the dialogue and be part of the solution as well. In my country, since coastal erosion is a huge problem, we are finding solutions to it. A range of solutions, from soft engineering solutions to hard solutions. Similarly, Singapore is also finding solutions to its problems. I think Singapore has one of the best examples of developments in water security, which many small island developing countries are now facing. We also should be beneficiaries of the global funds that are available for climate change adaptation, because these technologies are often quite expensive. It has cost millions and millions of dollars for Singapore to achieve water security. It is costing millions of dollars for Maldives to protect its shores. And there are other countries who are still struggling. And even in Maldives, water is still a problem. So I'm hoping that once the Global Climate Fund, Climate Green Fund becomes operational, then we will be significant beneficiaries of this Green Climate Fund.
Well, I can't blame some people for being climate change skeptics, because if anyone wanted to dream up a really challenging, impossibly challenging situation, they couldn't, I think, have come up with anything worse than or more challenging than climate change. So it does seem improbable, and especially that we caused it ourselves. But just stepping back a bit, looking at humans as a species, I mean, I'm scientifically trained, and we have, of course, a lot of defining traits, but two of the ones that have made us really successful is that we are able to imagine ourselves in situations that do not yet exist, and get the facts to support this or not, as the case might be. That's the whole foundation of our science and a lot of our creativity as well. Animals have now been shown to do a lot of things, like have emotions and even be creative artistically, which humans used to think were special to us. But animals have not yet been shown to be able to plan ahead and project ahead to the extent that we can. The second quality that we have, which of course some other animals have too, but we have to a superlative degree, is our ability to cooperate. A lot of animals do cooperate, and those that can cooperate survive better. But we cooperate really well because we have that extra tool, which is language. Now, with these two advantages, we've already sussed out the fact that climate change, well, most of us do believe in it, is happening, which if we didn't have these qualities, we wouldn't even know. We would become extinct without knowing what happened. So now the possibilities are we may have the perception to predict what will happen, but we don't have the ability to tackle it. Or we have this perception, which I mentioned, to predict it, and we have the cooperative ability, it has to be cooperative, to overcome it successfully. No one knows which will be the actual end result. I mean, I, as a human being, would like, and of course with vested interests in other human beings, would like, of course, the second scenario where our collective ability to tackle a problem would get us out of this hot water. But, well, let's wait and see. There's absolutely no way that humans and just our domestic animals and plants can be sustainable in the long term if we don't have nature as a backup, as it were. And we're already seeing a lot of examples of this, where monocultures just die off, and pollinators of our plants, bees, other insects, even our precious durian. Durians are threatened because of the loss of fruit bats that pollinate them. So if we imagine a world with us and those animals and plants that we eat, I think that's not going to exist. On the other hand, a world without us can very well exist. And may happen if we don't do something. We are in the age of what is now called the Anthropocene. And it's actually amazing if you look at the changes that have occurred in short period since man really got going in the last 5,000 to 10,000 years. Before that, we were like 0.1% of the biomass on the whole planet. Wild animals and flora and fauna being the other 99.9. Then we were so successful. Now, man and our domestic animals and plants are 97% of the planet's biomass, and wild animals and plants are only 3%. This is figures from WWF, Living Planet Index. So, you know, the way we've multiplied is more than exponential. Now, some people may see this as a success, but essentially we are living beyond our means being the natural world that supports us. Because if we imagine that we can go on living without nature, and just with a few domestic species, monocultures, we are really in for a shock. I mean, science has already shown that a lot of our crops are susceptible because they're monocultures. We've lost the ability to pollinate and propagate a lot of them because insects have been killed off.